Hi everybody, this is methlokaiju and today I'll be doing another video. This was, I believe, requested last year, obviously, by a bunch of people. So I won't really name them all right here because I kind of forgot who they were actually. But I know a bunch of people requested me this. Well, not too many people, but you know what I mean. And they requested me top 5 toughest Godzilla monsters slash enemies slash kaijus, yeah, whatever you want to call them. So let's get started, and this is my opinion, my own list, so it will be different from yours, it will differ from yours. So please no hate comments saying that you suck by not adding this kaiju or that kaiju or whatever. Please don't. So let's get started with number 5, that being Kaijudora 1991, or the Heisei Kaijudora. Kaijudora Heisei is very, very tough, especially when he fought Godzilla in this open field area. He was beating up Godzilla really badly. Godzilla was like, I guess his saliva was coming out or whatever, which does signify that, you know, he's struggling to survive. He was being choked to death. But then that's when something with the aliens, something went wrong, and that's when Kaijudora lost control and all that stuff. The reason why he's so low is because even though he did fight a Heisei Godzilla, which in my opinion, the Heisei Godzillas are one of the toughest Godzillas, or if not the toughest Godzilla versions, he still kind of had a big beating when he fought Godzilla at the end, especially whenever his head was blown off. And regarding the fact, in 1964, when Kaijudora fought off Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan, compared to this film, I don't know, it just seems a little underwhelming a little bit. So that's why he's still on the list, but he's also on the list because he fought a Heisei Godzilla. So that's number 4. Excuse me, that's number 5. Number 4 is Mechagodzilla 1974 or 1975. Just show up Mechagodzilla. That's what I mean. This Mechagodzilla has a bunch of firepower, a bunch of artillery. He has those missiles from the fingers. He shoots a beam from the eyes. He has like beams and lasers and all these missiles from all over the place. And man, was Godzilla bleeding. He was like squirting blood from his neck. It was really gruesome. And Mechagodzilla 1974 even almost killed King Caesar. Mechagodzilla 1974 fought Godzilla and King Caesar in the same time, and both of them were losing, which is incredibly impressive. Why is he still on the list? Well, because other monsters are more tougher than that, in my opinion. So that's why he's kind of low on the list. But just the fact that he fought 2 monsters, and those 2 monsters were getting defeated by Godzilla, is really incredibly impressive. Number 3, many of you will regard it as number 1. I know many of you will, and a bunch of people will hate on me for it. But number 3 is Kaijudora or Monster X2. Why so low on the list? Why isn't he number 1? Well, reason why. Kaijudora keeps spamming his beams. If he does it in a way like other monsters do, like Kaijudora, Heisei Kaijudora, he was also physically fighting. Kaijudora was just shooting the beams again and again and again and again. That's why Godzilla barely was even able to touch him. So yes, that does point to the fact that he's still powerful, but he's just spamming his beams the whole entire time. Plus, Godzilla Final Wars, in my opinion, is not the toughest Godzilla, and he already fought a bunch of other monsters. Kumonga, Rodan, Anguirus, King Caesar, Kamacuras, Ebra, Hedorah. He fought all these monsters, so Godzilla was obviously already weak. Plus, he even fought a tiny bit the Gotengo, and then he also had to fight Monster X, and then Chainsaw Guy, and then Mothra, and then those little cyborg things, I don't know what. That ship, I don't know what that was. All this stuff. So Godzilla was already weakened whenever he had to fight Kaijudora. And as mentioned, Kaijudora was spamming the beams. But regarding of all that, Kaijudora still was incredibly powerful, almost killed Godzilla, which is really impressive. But as mentioned, he keeps spamming the beams, and Godzilla was already weak at that time. And plus, he had to shoot that asteroid thing or whatever. He probably was kind of exhausted by shooting all that firepower to that asteroid. He was already exhausted already. So that's number 3. Number 2, a bunch of people will also hate for me, or excuse me, will hate at me. Yeah, whatever. Number 2 is Space Godzilla, clone of Godzilla. Now, what's really odd about him is that he has 2 origins. One origin is that Mothra flew in outer space and then got some Godzilla DNA or cells while she was flying, and then the cells went into a black hole, and then it came out of a white hole, and then Space Godzilla comes up. Another origin story was that Biolante's cells, since they already contain Godzilla cells, went to the sky, to space, went to a black hole, came up from a white hole, and we have Space Godzilla. Pretty odd. But Space Godzilla is incredibly powerful. He fought, in my opinion, the toughest incarnation of Godzilla, which is the 1994 Godzilla. For me, is the toughest one. But he did not really show to be such an incredibly powerful monster whenever he was beamed to death by the red spiral beams. Now, same thing goes with number 1, which I bet you guys already know what number 1 is. But I don't know, just something that Space Godzilla is not as tough as my number 1, honestly. It's just something about him that just kind of degrades him. But one thing I do have to give props to Space Godzilla is that he fought the toughest incarnation of Godzilla and Mogira. Yes, Mogira, probably my least favorite. Actually, no, that's not my least favorite, but just, I don't know, I just didn't really care about him. But he was, you know, Mogira was pretty powerful still. He had, or it had all these beams and that screw thing or whatever. Even the nose was also damaging Space Godzilla. But Space Godzilla still beat those 2 out. And then at the end of the day, Godzilla just, you know, bedazzled him with all his beams, and boom, Space Godzilla was obliterated. So Space Godzilla definitely an incredibly tough, powerful opponent. Why not number 1? Well, because the number 1 choice I have is, for me, more tougher than Space Godzilla. So before I go to number 1, let's talk about my honorable mentions. Now, first off, Hedorah, 1974. Excuse me, 1971. Final Wars Hedorah, not even tough whatsoever. Anyways, with Hedorah, Showa Hedorah, pretty powerful still. Reason why he's not on the list, or is on the list, is because he lost, or he was getting a beating from a Showa Godzilla. And, you know, Showa Godzillas are not as powerful as a Heisei Godzilla. So if Hedorah 1971 fought a Heisei Godzilla, Hedorah will be, exterminated. So that's why he's not on the list, or it's not on the list. Number 2 is Gigan 1972. He did injure Godzilla 1972 a lot. Godzilla was like bleeding, but not as much as Godzilla 1974. So that's why he's not on the list. Number 3 is Orga. Orga has that beam from his shoulder cannon or whatever, and it's incredibly powerful. He has very long distance jumps, which is really odd. And also his claws are also really powerful. And whenever he swallows you, he can turn into a clone of you, basically. But the reason why he's not on the list, because he's really slow moving, and Godzilla 2000 beat him. And for me, Godzilla 2000 isn't a really incredibly tough Godzilla in my opinion. I mean, yes, he is more powerful than other Godzilla incarnations, say like Godzilla 1954 or Godzilla 1998, obviously. But yeah, that's the reason why Orga's on the list, because Orga fought a Godzilla that's not too powerful compared to other ones, and he was still like terminated. His head was literally blown off. So if he fought Heisei Godzilla, he will be, well, he'll turn to ashes. Number 1 is Manila. Manila is the ultimate kaiju. He defeated all the Godzillas in one showdown all together, and he just defeated them, all of them. All of them were just like turned to a crisp. So that's why okay, no, this is just a joke. Manila's not number 1. My true number 1 is Mechagodzilla 2 / Super Mechagodzilla. Oh, you suck because you didn't put Kaijudora for number 1. Guess what? Godzilla 2, he fought off Godzilla 1993, and that's a very powerful Godzilla as well. And, whoa, he even defeated Rodan, which, oh, Rodan is a very weak kaiju compared to Mogira. Well, the 1993 Rodan was actually really powerful, surprisingly. Especially when he was Fire Rodan. He was very powerful, and Rodan almost, I want to say defeated Godzilla, but Godzilla had troubles fighting Rodan, 1993 Rodan. So that's why Godzilla 2 is probably the most powerful. And also for me, Godzilla died in that movie, but just Rodan helped his friends, and he just got resuscitated. But I think he died. Why? Because normally whenever you're in a coma, I almost said comma. Whenever you're in a coma or unconscious, sometimes your eyes are open, you cannot react. While Godzilla 1983 was, his eyes literally closed. So that means he's already getting prepared to die, and that probably means that he did actually die. Plus, how come a bunch of surge of energy actually resurrected him? Like, how exactly? I mean, wouldn't that take like a couple of months or years to recover that? Plus, if you add radiation to a human being that's in a coma, that won't revive him. I mean, I know this is all fiction and all that stuff, and that you shouldn't care about the, how real it is, but I just want to go to the facts. I just want to go to the facts. So that's why I think Godzilla 2 / Super Godzilla is the most powerful Godzilla opponent, in my opinion. So please comment below, what do you think, or what are your thoughts on my list, and also, what are your top 5 toughest Godzilla enemies, monsters, opponents? So that's basically it for this video. Subscribe, like, and comment. methlokaiju, signing out.